It's not always easy coming back from an injury, especially one that's as big as an Achilles injury. But after 3 surgeries and a couple of years off, our guest is back onto the scene in mixed martial arts, and she's looking to make a name for herself as she looks to climb the ranks. Today, she's going to be talking about her experience as a fighter, overcoming adversity from those injuries, coming back into the fight game, what it's like before the fights, what she expects to do in her fight career, how does she manage her time between her full-time job and her fighting career, and the amount of time it takes to drive from location to location. A lot of different conversations that we're having today. She's a former softball player in college, so she understands the parallels between sports and life, and we talk about that as well. It's a super cool opportunity to talk to a local fighter here out of Idaho, here on the Gametime Guru. So,
what time is it? Game time!
This is the Gametime Guru podcast, where I interview sports figures from all over the world to help deliver a panoramic view on sports. So whether you're a former athlete, one of the crazies, or simply a casual sports fan, this is the perfect show for you as we peel back the curtains and learn from our guests every single week. I'm your host, Shane Larson, and I'm helping you see sports through a different lens. What's up, everybody? Welcome out to another episode of the Gametime Guru podcast. Shane Larson here, host of the show. Super stoked for this one. We get to bring on an MMA fighter and kind of learn her story. As you guys heard in the introduction, I always enjoy talking to fighters, especially the fighters that are on the regional scene and, you know, making their way through the fight game and learning more about their journeys. As you guys know, I'm a former boxer. I love combat sports of all sorts, and I just enjoy the art of fighting. I think there's a lot of different forms of it, and I love MMA. And so super excited to be bringing onto the show Ariel Frantz, local fighter here out of Idaho. So Ariel, thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super pumped.
Heck yeah. So at the time of this recording, I want to make sure we are in fight week. So what does fight week look for you, Ariel? Like, are you weight cutting right now? I saw a post of yours on social media. Are you currently in a weight cut? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, at this point, everything's really kind of already set in stone, dialed in. My last training session was last night. So, tonight is just about relaxing. I'm in a massive calorie deficit. We're in that last little phase of the weight cut. Got a few pounds to get off that I'll sweat off tomorrow night. But yeah, tonight's just about relaxing, letting my body recover, prepping everything for the week to come, fight kits, gear, all that stuff. So that way tomorrow, once I start sweating, I don't have to remember anything.
Oh man, see that's the brutal part of like the fight game that people don't realize. Like they only see the finished product there. You know, it's like that's the entertainment factor from the fans' perspective. But like weight cutting, talk to us about that process. It's a science essentially. Some people do it more efficiently than others. I was lucky to never have to truly cut weight when I was always a lighter fighter for my weight class when I was in boxing. But even in the amateurs of boxing, you didn't even have to be the same weight. You just had to be within a certain weight range. And so it was a little different than mixed martial arts, right? You have a weight to hit and you have to do that. So talk to us about the science of weight cutting and what it does to you mentally, because, Ariel, I'm always so intrigued because you're at a caloric deficit. People are like, well, it's the week of the fight. That's when you should be like at your peak, and you're mentally drained and so forth. So like, talk to us about the science of it and like, how do you make sure that you do that, make your weight, and then still have the mentality and the wherewithal to be able to go out and perform at your best?
Yeah, you know what? It is a science to it. And I would like to give myself flowers on this one that I have that science pretty down packed. I think I cut weight better than anyone else in my gym, to be honest with you.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a bit of a process. Obviously, like if you do the work early, there's less stress on your body late. So, I've known about this fight for about 8 weeks. So I had time to diet and do things the right way from the jump. So early on, we're just eating really clean, not necessarily in a calorie deficit. We're just eating clean and really fueling our workouts because typically you pick up your activity level once you get into camp. Things get really intense. So you don't want to just starve yourself or you'll never build a gas tank. So I eat quite a bit of calories through the majority of camp. So that way I make sure that my cardio is up and I'm not going to get hurt and everything. I really don't start cutting things back till a couple weeks out. I do a process called water loading, which a lot of fighters use. There's a lot of science behind cutting weight now. It's not just like suffering is a rite of passage. You don't have to do it that way. Like just get on your phone and Google it. Like there's a better way, I promise. So it really just in this last week comes down to manipulating salt and kind of some brain chemicals and just dehydrating yourself as safely as possible. So I load water and then I slowly deplete glycogen and salt out of my muscles, kind of like wringing them dry. So essentially, for the last couple of days, I've been peeing away my muscles. All the stuff that makes my muscles look nice, big, and fluffy. I've just been peeing and peeing and peeing, and I'll continue to do that. And then today was actually my first day of a water taper, which means I've been drinking 2.5 gallons the last couple of days, but today I'm only at a gallon, and tomorrow I'll be at half. And then obviously we'll cut it down. Actually, tomorrow I'll be less than half, and I'll finish my water by like 5, 6, and then I will sweat my way and sleep my way to the finish line. So it's it's a rough 12 hours, but really I can be 126.0. It's a 125 pound weight. I get a weight, I get a pound of weight that I can, flux. And I'm only 126 pounds for like 12 hours. And then I'll rehydrate, refuel, and I'll walk in the cage big. And it's actually kind of crazy to look at what I look like on the scale on weigh-in day compared to what I walk in the cage at. It's quite different.
That's so cool to me though. I always love like the concept of it all, like just the difference between weigh-in day and fight day if you do it right. Some people don't do it right when they rehydrate, even they get really sick and they have a hard time. How do you make sure that you rehydrate properly?
Yeah, it's so tempting after being on such a strict diet and eating really well for so long that as soon as you make weight, you just want to eat all the things you've been craving, like pizza and donuts and all this stuff. But um, to ensure that you really get the most out of all the hard work you put in throughout camp, you want to rehydrate smart. So, for that first, 15 minutes, I'm just pounding a Gatorade with salt in it, slowly. You have to get your digestive tract back on track. Like it needs to restart. So you got to do it slow or you're going to make yourself really sick. So, first 15 minutes, I just drink a Gatorade, a regular Gatorade, the sugary kind with salt, and then a Pedialyte, some goldfish. And we're really just sticking to a lot of salt and easily digestible carbs for a while. My first meal is usually about an hour after I weigh in. And again, we're staying away from really fatty things, no grease. And we'll start introducing protein at about an hour mark. And then at that point, I try to eat about like close to 600 grams of carbs in between when I weigh in and when I walk in the cage to really reinflate, and a lot of salt too, just to get the energy back. And I wait until after my fight to eat my first garbage meal. So I fully plan on hitting up Taco Bell after I win this fight on Friday night.
That's dope. I was actually going to ask you, like, what is your meal of choice? Like, if you had to cheat on something. And so that's cool to hear. Like, you know what? Taco Bell's underrated. I tell people that all the time. I'm
It
like, dude, everyone
is.
wants to hate on it. I'm like, that brings me back to the high school days, dude. Like a half-pound cheesy bean and rice burrito. Ain't
Taco
nothing
Bell
better.
brings people together. You can be in a Taco Bell parking lot at 3 a.m. and there is people from every single walk of life. You can have someone in their Mercedes Benz, someone in their beat up Corolla, and they are getting along because they're all going to Taco Bell and they're hungry. So it is a melting pot that brings America together for sure.
So are they going to sponsor you for the fight? Like, come on now. They need help to do it.
I wish. It's probably best if they don't.
Yeah,
Actually, I don't
probably.
need free Taco Bell.
Probably not, right? That's cool though. That's awesome. So Ariel, like to my understanding, as I went back and I was looking at your journey, you're coming off some injuries, been a minute out of the cage. Like this is your time back. And Will was talking to me, Will Dunkel, who was just on the podcast. And I've known Will for about 6 years now too, and just connecting with him. And he was telling me, dude, like keep an eye out for this girl. She's making her way up the ranks now. So she's ready to fight. So talk to us about your journey thus far. Like when you got into fighting, what happened in those couple of years, surgeries and so forth is what I was told. And then, you're back at it.
Yeah, I got into fighting. I was a college athlete at Boise State. And, when I was done, uh, once a competitor, always a competitor. I was just looking through things, kind of filtering through different hobbies, honestly, like tried bodybuilding, tried CrossFit, like slow pitch, flag football, like you name it. Like we're just out there trying to like feed that competition drug in you. But I was a strength and conditioning coach and I happened to be working with some MMA fighters. And I just jumped in with them a couple times and I absolutely loved it. And after kind of casually training as a hobbyist for a little bit, I was like, let's do it. Let's go for it. And I had a blast. It just really it curbed an ache in me that was just great. And I love it so much. And I've been in love ever since. Yeah, and, for the first few years, it was really fun, learning the ropes as an amateur, like, learning your weight cut, like, learning all the things. It was great, and as I progressed, it started really coming up, won a few titles, and, fought for 4 titles, made my way down to Texas and Fury to fight for some bigger promotions, and we were getting ready to sign big pro contracts, and unfortunately, I ruptured my Achilles, 5 days out from a big title fight. And it just so happened that it didn't want to be a normal Achilles rupture. It wanted to be a rare one, hence the rare AF. Lived up to my name. And I had about 3 surgeries in my time off and have been out of the cage for the last 2 years, just kind of healing and recovering from that. And so, yeah, this is my first one back since then. And yeah, I just miss it. Like, I'm just super excited to get back into it. Obviously, I think I'm a high level competitor and I have a lot of potential to move high up in the sport. And, but this one is just about getting back in there and having that opportunity to do something I love again.
I love that. So coming back from an injury, that's a pretty big one. 3 surgeries later on that too. So an Achilles, like that's massive. So psychologically, Ariel, this is one of the questions I have for you too. When I tore my shoulder out 10 years ago, almost, it's 9.5 years ago, I tore my shoulder out, and I still to this day, as a 37-year-old man, like, it still hinders me from certain things. Like when I'm playing basketball, when I'm playing football, if I'm even hitting the bags, like I'm still training, it's really like it hinders me psychologically. Like it
Yeah.
really messes me up. So from a psychological standpoint, how did you get back into the ring, trying to train and stuff, and just get over the psychological hump of that injury?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I mean, a lot of athletes go through that where a lot of athletes have had career-ending injuries, right? Where they can't get past that hump. Like, it's a very real thing that's difficult to get through. And there was a point where, like, after my last surgery, we really didn't know what my functionality was going to be like in that leg. And the surgeon was really honest with me. They're like, "We're going to do the best we can. We think we can get you back, but we're not going to know till it has some time to heal. So probably like 6 to 8 months, we'll have a better idea of where we're at." That was tough. That was tough to hear. That right when you feel like you're picking up some traction, you kind of get derailed from like a freak accident that was really beyond anything you could have predicted or prepared for. And I remember being in the car with my best friend one day, and he was giving me that, the best friend speech, like, "You're going to be back at it before you know it. Like, you got it." And I remember looking at him and just being like, "I know you're right. And I believe you. But right now, like where I'm at right now, there is not a future I can imagine jumping on this leg. Like, I
Yeah.
just can't picture it right now. Like, I know you're right and I hear you, but I'm so honestly, like, I cannot picture it. I cannot feel it in my bones right now that I'm ever going to trust this leg again." And that was tough. And, that was about a year and a half ago. And here I am getting ready to get in the cage. So you just got to go through the process. You just got to do the things. And when it comes to injuries or pain, the best medicine for pain, honestly, is movement, and you gotta keep moving. Like, that doesn't mean that you have to torture yourself. Like, this whole in the athlete world, there tends to be, like, a suffering as a rite of passage theme that I'm not about, that I'm not on board with, and I never will be. There's a time and a place to suffer, but it's not like a rite of passage that's necessary or equates to anything, and I think there's a right way, to do things, and in the age of technology, you can definitely find it. So as far as, like, confidence, it just comes from using it, like, doing the right steps, like, doing the right things and trusting that over time, you're gonna get there, you're gonna get where you need to be, and that's kinda where I was in that moment, where it's like, "I know you're right, and I know I'll get there." Right now, I can't see it, I can't envision it, but I know eventually we'll get there, and I think that's what you gotta kinda do is you gotta stick to it and, just just trust that if you do the right things, that eventually you'll get that confidence back.
No, I love that, man. I can't even tell you how much I understand that feeling. When I ripped my shoulder, I had surgery. Ariel, it's funny. Like, the same thing happened. "Oh, you guys, you're gonna be just fine. Just keep going through the." I couldn't. Like, I literally would like cry at night as as a guy in my late 20s because I couldn't move my arm. I'm like, dude, I
Yeah.
can't even. I couldn't even move it 2 inches to the side yet, and like, I just couldn't envision being able to do anything with it anymore. I'm like, I'm done. My whole life, I can't move my arm ever again. And I started panicking, but like, obviously, hindsight, you look at it as you go through the process and the journey. But that's what I try to tell younger athletes too. So I'm glad you shared that because I feel that too. Just like just be patient, but also like just do the little things step by step. It won't be overnight. But here you are, a year and a half later from an Achilles injury. That is massive. And here you are. You're going back into the fight game. So, in the fight game, talk to us about your fighting style. I want to know more about you as a fighter. So, are you a grappler? Do you like to strike? Like, what's your forte, so to speak, Ariel?
I just like to fight, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm the most peaceful, genuine human. If you know me outside of the cage, people that know me outside of the cage and don't know me as a fighter can't imagine me fighting. And the people that know me in the cage and from fighting can't imagine me like this nice customer service, like, you know what I mean, like nice passive person. And so I just like to brawl, like consensually. Like, I really truly don't believe in violence outside of a signed contract, unless someone's life is in danger. But I just love fighting, like I really do. And because of that, like, and I came into it late. Like, I didn't do combat sports growing up. Like, that wasn't something that I had done. A ton of sports, never combat. And so I kind of have been learning it all at once, all at the same time, and I love it. I have finishes by submission, I have finishes by knockout, and I love both. I'll go through a grappling practice and I'll be like, oh my god, I love grappling. Like, this is the best. I can't imagine. Like, this is my thing. And then I'll get to striking practice and I'll be like, no, no, no. Like, this is it. I love it. Let me just put someone into the spirit lands with the pure power of my fist. Like, woo. But I like it all. I just like fighting. I'm obsessed with it. Um, it I don't my style is, I don't know. I'm just an all-around fighter. Like, I'm balanced. I'll go anywhere. I wouldn't consider myself a submission specialist. I'll leave that to the jujitsu girlies out there. But I know enough for MMA. You know what I mean? Like, I can
Yeah.
hit you with a handful of chokes and, rip your arm off. And other than that, like, well, if you're on the ground, I can punch you in the face. So, I don't care. Like, I just like to brawl, and I am not afraid to stand and bang in the center of the cage. In fact, I love it, to the point where my coach sometimes tells me that I need to chill out. But my nose also, I had it reconstructed, would also tell me that maybe we don't just stand and do the Holloway Gaethje thing in the middle of the cage all the time, even though the crowd loves it. Maybe we be a little bit smarter than that.
Oh, dude, I was about to reference Gaethje on that one because Gaethje always talks about how his coach always tells him to stop, but he just can't find a way to stop it. Hey, and don't worry about the nose. I got a crooked nose too after my surgery. Never lined it up straight after that. So
I know,
yeah,
I had surgery on it. It's still crooked, but
that's,
like they fixed a lot of it, and like this whole side of my like sinuses and everything was completely destroyed, like concaved.
oh
My
wow,
plastic surgeon was like, they mostly do plastics, and so I was one of the only like athletes they're seeing. They're like, we've never really seen a nose with that much damage,
holy
but
cow!
we got it done. So
Hey, you're looking
I
good
can
though. It's really
breathe now. Yeah, yeah. I can breathe now. But yeah, I think my mother and my plastic surgeon and would prefer if I don't shatter my nose again. So
yeah,
I'll do my best.
probably
No
be ideal.
promises. No
Hey, if you're
promises. But
swing and bang, right? That's Derek
yeah,
Lewis once said out. Let's swing and bang then. So you never know what can
exactly.
happen. You're wearing small gloves. Things can happen. But Ariel, I have a question for you here too. So okay, broken nose. Has what like the one thing I love about fighting, and this is what I tell people, I'm like, I love the art of fighting. I just love it. In the boxing room is similar to there's certain times where like you might get clipped and you have to like, and you can't always train for that either. Our coach Ralph Jones would always talk to us about like, I can't like just knock you guys out or hit you. Like, that's not healthy for me to just hit you so hard that you're wobbling and you're kind of seeing
Right.
stars. So you're going to have to learn and trust me when we say, so he would always tell us like, if you do get clipped, which you will eventually, something might hit you when you don't see it coming. You get hit around the temple. You just get wobbly. Your knees shake a little bit. You got to find the ropes, gain your bearings, and you got to get back to work. You can't sit there and just take shots. If you really want to win, you're going to have to figure out a way to get out of it and swing out. And so I just always remember that. Find the ropes, gain your bearings, and get back to work. Like, you've just got to figure it out. Has there been a time in your fighting career where you have gotten rocked, where you had to like face some adversity in the fight itself and that you had to come back from? Like, do you have any moments like that?
Um, you know, in my fights so far, I've lost once, but I wouldn't say it's because I got rocked. I got choked out, like made a mistake on the cage, and so so far in my fights, I mean, I've gotten hit. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, in some of the girls I fought, I've hit really hard, but I don't feel like I've been hit necessarily in a fight yet where I've been like, oh shit, like I'm seeing triple.
Yeah.
Um, knock on wood. I don't want to jinx that. But I have been clipped in sparring a couple of times. I'm not gonna lie. By teammates, both in the body and a couple head kicks that just accidents happen. Um, and yeah, you know, there will come a time when I get clipped with something that I have never felt before. I fully believe that. That's part of the game. And it's funny, I was just talking about this at work yesterday of like, so one of my coworkers asked me like, why would this person even fight if they don't like getting hit? And I was like, well, honestly, like a lot of times you don't even realize the nature of which you can get hit until it happens. And so you don't know till you know. What is that like? Everyone has a game plan to get punched in the face. Like,
Yeah.
so the best you can do, like, this is so, I've never said this out loud, but sometimes when I'm feeling like lightheaded or like I did a really hard workout or like whatever I've done, I get up too fast and I'm lightheaded, or sometimes I'll even just I'll do breath work and I'll hold my breath for a long time. I'll try to get up and do an activity and I'll be like, pretend like you just got rocked. Like, you got to get through this. Like, just, this is your training right now. And just imagine that, like, you know, that kind of disorientation is what it will be like. But, um, you know, if it happens, it happens. And you got to trust that whatever habits you've instilled in your body will kick in at that point, and you'll get it done. And you know what? If the time comes and I get my bell rung, I have faith that I will move,
Yeah.
get on my bike, create some distance, and give myself some room or clinch up or something. I have the confidence I would do it if I needed it.
You'd figure it out. You've repped it enough to where you've envisioned it.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing if you're in trouble.
Yeah. You know, what can you
That's
do?
Yeah, it's one of those things. That's the fight game. That's the beauty of the fight game. Now, as you prepare for a fight, I know this is your first time back in a couple of years, but in the fights that you've had, you know, there's anxiety. I love talking to fighters. I had a guy on my show named Mike Richmond, and he's a bare knuckle fighter for the BKFC right now, but he fought for Bellator for a while. And he was talking to me about how nervous he gets right when he's on deck, right? So at the BKFC matches, like they have you in the room and then you come on deck where you're by the stage. And he's like, dude, it's like when it's on deck, you realize like I'm about to go get in a scrap, like a bar fight, you know, and it's bare knuckle. And when all the things start coming through your head that you're like trying to like not get all worked up about. You're in the locker room, breath work, you're getting all fine. And then all of a sudden you're on deck and you're like, oh shoot, like things start going like that. So
It's about to pop off.
so how do you go about it? Like the like, how do you go about like not getting too tense so that all that training you put in, Ariel, like all the work you put in for those 8 weeks leading up to it, 8 to 12 weeks, whatever it is for your camp, don't go to waste? You know, like how do you go about like making sure you're ready to fight and you're at your level, even though you might be nervous?
Yeah, that's a real thing. In fact, when people ask me all the time, like what my least favorite part is or like what the experience is like, I always say from like the time that you get called and you're on deck and you're being escorted to the first engagement, to the first real engagement with the person you're fighting, is my least favorite part, because it's just like, it's all like, oh my God. It's like everyone's holding your breath. Like you can cut the tension and like, you're just like, okay, here we are. Like all these people are watching me, you know, and it's not like a grappling tournament or like a basketball game when there's like multiple going on and there's like multiple people in play. Like there is a bunch of people watching you, only you, in your underwear in a cage. Like it sounds a little bit crazy, and it is. And so reality kind of sets in right there where you're like, wow, like this is really what we decided to do with our life. Like really, like this is what we wanted to do. But you know what? You just get through it. Like the first one is tough, but then you kind of get the feel for it. And honestly, it's never like an anxiety as far as like fear of getting hurt. At least for me personally, like I'm never necessarily worried about pain. Because if I was that concerned about pain, I probably wouldn't be fighting. Like where
Yeah.
fighters generally are like, okay, I can handle a little bit of pain. Like it's fine. You're generally worried about embarrassing yourself, right? Because so many people are watching you. Like you're not necessarily worried about losing. You're worried about embarrassing yourself in front of people. And so you just kind of got to get over it. Like these people haven't made this walk. They don't understand it. Like I'm here for me. And you know what? Like I said, I'm going to feel really on edge for the next 5 minutes. But as soon as I let my hands go and we engage the first time, like it's on and we're good. And that all goes away.
I love that. Do you have any music that you specifically like listen to get yourself in the right mind? I was talking to Will about this, and you know, Will has he's kind of gone to like the gospel centered
Yeah.
music for himself to kind of calm down. I always listen to Michael Jackson, which is crazy because I would always listen to like Lil Jon, the East Side Boys, like get during training. I'm like listening to like adrenaline pumping music. And then before fights, I'd always listen to Michael Jackson. There's a movie called Free Willy, and he has this
Okay.
song.
I love Free Willy. I'm obsessed with orcas. I literally, you can't even see it. I have like an orca like
Oh,
right
no
here.
kidding.
I'm so obsessed with Free Willy. That was my movie as a kid.
Oh, I love it,
Okay.
dude. I loved it
Yeah.
too. So my sister and I would watch it all the time. And that the song on there that Michael Jackson sings, that was the one I would always play in my headphones on repeat to get my heart rate down. And just, it's called Will You Be There? Anyway, I was like
Yeah.
I just listened to that on repeat, which is crazy. People are like, you're going to go in there and start swinging. Why would you do that? But that was my song. Do you have any music that you listen to or any kind of pre-fight rituals or anything?
I'm a huge music fan. Like when I'm not fighting, I'm at music festivals. Like I can play several, and like music is my thing. And so every camp, I kind of latch onto a different genre of music that just like feels organic to where we're at. And so it's been different every time I've fought, to be honest with you. Most of my friends know me as a metalhead. Like I like metalcore and like that I enjoy seeing that. But actually my favorite like soundtrack to listen to getting ready for a fight is the Black Panther soundtracks. I love them. I don't feel like I can walk out to any of the songs. Like it's not my right, it's not my privilege. Like it's not for me. But but the Black Panther soundtracks are amazing, and they like you get the like Wakanda like native like chants going, and it hypes me up. Like it gets me like the warrior chants, and it really gets me going. And so a lot of times I'll listen to a lot of like the Black Panther soundtrack when I'm in the back just to like feel like we're getting ready for war. Like, you know what I mean? And it's pretty fun. Yeah.
Oh, it's dope. I love it. I love it. And Ariel, you said you were a college athlete. What sport did you compete in at Boise State?
Yeah, I played softball. I played softball for the majority of my life, really competitively through college, high school, all of it.
How interesting. I literally just had a gal that I interviewed earlier. That was, her name's Tiffany Deering. She's a softball. She's doing like a whole recruiting service for softball, and she played at
Okay.
Michigan, won a national championship there in the early 2000s and stuff.
Love that.
So that's kind of cool. That's interesting. So how does softball compare to that of, is like, are there parallels between softball and fighting?
Absolutely. First of all, there's parallels to everything, to sports in general. Like if you were an athlete, like you take that mindset and those skill sets you learned as an athlete everywhere in life. And
I love
so,
that.
you know what I mean? Like you just do. So as far as softball goes, I always say that the main just like skills thing that I took from softball into fighting was rotational power, right? Um, Softball is so rotational and explosive in small bursts, and so is fighting. A lot of striking, like a lot of it is very like when you're throwing a punch, when you're kicking, like those are rotational movements, and so is swinging a bat and throwing a ball. And so uh, that power distribution, like that kinetic chain, that really transferred over really well into striking. And then as far as just like other things, like just high level skills that I use everywhere. So like time management and discipline and getting up and getting your workouts done, eating right, like understand what is the difference between an athlete's diet and someone dieting to lose weight, like what your body needs to perform, like what strength and conditioning looks like all those things are very similar. The mindset, right? Like how you have to lock in before competition, how you handle failure, like all those things are exactly the same everywhere, not just in sports, but in life. So there was a lot of skills that definitely carried over and made it an easy transition.
Thank you for sharing that because
Yeah.
I always try to share like parallels between sports and life anyway. And that's like perfect right there. Was just amazing to hear you say that because you've been there on a variety of levels. And so another question I had for fighters that are on the regional scene, Ariel, I mean, unless you're in the UFC, and even if you are in the UFC, right, like that, like at top tier levels, you have to support your livelihood in other ways. So a lot of people are full-time workers. Some are working multiple jobs while they're fighting. I guess you
Yeah.
mentioned time management. When do you train? Is it in the evenings? Is it in the mornings? And how do you make sure that you're like the phrase is be here now? So whatever it is for your work or whatever provides for your livelihood, how are you there now? Focus on that. Then how do you unplug and then plug back in for fighting? When do you train and how do you manage your time, so to speak?
Yeah, that is a great question and something I'm constantly battling, to be honest with you. I have a full-time job. I'm a senior client relations manager for a men's health company here in Idaho. And I work on the regional scene too. And I've worked this job for over 5 years now. So that's 30, 40 hours a week I'm working. Luckily, a great thing about my job is I have a lot of autonomy with my schedule and I work with a lot of great people. So when I'm in camp, I can cut back a little bit and have a little bit of flexibility to get training hours in. So when I'm in camp, I'm working out in the mornings before work. So I'm getting up, 6, 7 a.m. and getting a session in, going to work. At work, I usually take, a break to walk, to stretch, to, I have resistance bands in my office. We're all pretty active here. I work with a bunch of other athletes, some combat athletes, some bodybuilders. So, I mean, we have a kitchen stocked of supplements. Like everyone's looking for activity here. So we're still active at the office. And then I get off work and I have an hour commute to my gym out in Nampa. And then I train for a couple hours out there and then I come home. Occasionally I'll hit a conditioning session afterwards, like light conditioning just for fat burning purposes, depending on where I'm at in my weight cut. But other than that, I meal prep for the next day, make sure all my shit's together, and then try to calm down enough to go to bed.
Man,
Do it all
that's a
again the
long
next
day.
day.
You get
Yeah, and then
overstimulated and that drive alone. So are you with Team No Excuse? Is that where you're at? Like,
yeah, so I fight on the same fight team as Will out in No Excuse in Nampa, Idaho.
do
Mhm.
you guys still? So for the people who are listening that are outside of Idaho, that's so. Are you in Boise or do you reside in Boise?
Yeah, I live in Boise. I live in Boise, work in Eagle, and train out in Nampa, but they're all in the same like area. The thing, what's
Sort of.
crazy is, yeah, they're around each other. I commute. I spend a lot of time in the car, like crazy amount of time in the car every day, making those commutes. Truth be told, but yeah, so I get around. I'm very familiar with the Treasure Valley.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the Treasure Valley. So just so everyone knows that she's in Boise, she's working in Eagle, Nampa. Yeah, it's all within 15 miles of each other, but it's not really 15 minutes anymore. It's like depending on what time of the day, it's going to take you a minute to get from place to place. And like,
Yeah, it takes me about an hour to get from work to the gym every night, and that's if there isn't a crash or someone, because the Boise area, Treasure Valley, has exploded in the last like 5, 10 years, and our road systems have not evolved a single bit. So the roads here cannot handle the traffic, and it is just a pain in the butt to get anywhere in the rush hour in the morning or the rush hour at night. Drives that you could normally make in like 20 minutes on a weekend or in the middle of the day take you an hour and a half when everyone else is trying to make it. So, yeah, I spend a lot of time in the car, a
you're like
lot of
a
time in the
Californian,
car.
man. We love all our California implants over here, but come on now, like
Yeah.
that's what it's like nowadays. And going to Team No Excuse down, like even coming off of Garrity and trying to like get all the way down in
Hmm.
Nampa, like that's hard. Like that area
It
where it's at
is.
by tomorrow's champions, it's tough to get over there. So anyway, it's that's crazy. So where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years, Ariel, in the fight game specifically? Do you have aspirations to make it higher in the fight game? You mentioned that earlier, kind of you were working up through Fury and some other things. Like you have a full-time profession that you're successful at. Like what do you see yourself doing in the next 3 to 5 years in your life?
Um, I'm gonna fight. Listen, I can work full time and 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. There will be plenty of time for that. I also love coaching. Eventually, I want to get back to coaching. I left coaching to pursue my athletic career again. Um, but I'm gonna fight while I can, and I am in the athletic and just mental prime of my life. So I'm gonna ride it as far as I can. My goal here is to get back to Fury. First off, I loved Fury. It was a great promotion. And I need to redeem myself on it. So my goal here is get this one done, get a few fights in the bag and get back to Fury, sign a pro contract and string them together and just climb as high as I can, fight anyone I can, and see how far we can make it. And while keeping my body healthy and also somehow maintaining a 9 to 5 job so I can have health insurance in case I injure myself again. And also some semblance of relationships with people outside of work and training, which is another piece of the puzzle.
there's always things to work on, right? And you got a lot of things to
Yeah,
do, but it's cool
always.
to hear that you got some aspirations and you're working
Mhm.
towards it. And hey, the United Fight League out of Arizona, the UFL, they provide health insurance for their fighters. So that's another one to just keep an eye on
We
down
need
there.
to see more of that. We
Yeah,
definitely need to see more of that.
and
Yeah.
that's one of their big selling pieces. I had their owner on my show once. So, Ariel, the last question I have for you is, it's one of those things you look at the men are always like these macho men, testosterone. Okay, fighting seems normal.
Sure.
I know the women's fight scene has been pretty good for the last 10 to 12 years when Ronda Rousey kind of made her mark at the beginning of that time frame. And then, it's kind of gotten bigger, and then it's done a couple things, but you got a lot more women fighting. What would you tell for the young women who, they're the pretty girls that, like, they don't want to be seen as like, oh, this is a combat sport. It doesn't look right. But for you, you're not a fighter in the streets or nothing. You said you're actually against violence, right? You're kind to
Yeah.
everybody. But
I'm
you'll put someone to
peaceful,
sleep.
not harmless.
There
Peaceful,
you-
not harmless.
I love that. So what would you say then? What kind of advice would you give to these young women who are aspiring fighters? They kind of have that dream, but they're kind of worried about the whole look
The
of it.
masculine side of it. Listen,
Yeah.
if fighting can be whatever you want it to be, athletics, whatever you do, you can do it your way. In fact, I was just talking about this earlier this morning. Like, yes, MMA definitely has this alpha male testosterone, like, cult thing kind of attached to it lately, but it doesn't have to be that. Like, you can make it this whimsical, fun, dancing, listen to your pop playlist, your girly pop play. When I put on girly pop in the gym, every man dances. I'm just gonna say that right now. Every fighter in that gym does. So like, you can have so much fun with it. Like, there's a time to be intense for sure, but just do it how you want to do it. Like, seriously, like, if you're an athlete and you enjoy it, that's all that matters. You can make the journey look like whatever you want to do, as long as you're enjoying it. Like, it really doesn't matter. And that's kind of something I've been really focusing on as I get back into it. Like, it doesn't have to be intense. It doesn't have to be this or gert. Like, don't get me wrong, I can be that and I will be that when it's time, but I can have fun, and it can be this like journey that is enjoyable and whimsical, and like, that we're dancing along to, and I can still get the results that everyone wants to see, right? I don't care if they want to see it, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can still get a knockout and freaking listen to Ariana Grande in the back. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, so if you want to fight. It'll make you so confident that you won't even care about what are people going to think about me. Get in the gym. You'll stop caring about what people think of you, because you'll be so confident that it won't matter. So it gives you an identity that only matters to yourself. And that's really all you need.
No, I freaking love that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for the insights there and the wisdom. And Ariel, I just want to say thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. This is fight week for you. You're tired, you're hungry, you've got work going on. There's so many things, but thank you for taking the time to share this. And
Of
we're looking
course.
forward to supporting you moving forward.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'll never say no to a podcast. So you know what? Here's to a win. Hopefully, when all of you guys are watching this, I already got the highlight reel and I've made that win, and we're planning the next one.
Heck yeah. Appreciate you, Ariel. For all those listening, make sure to tune in. We'll be coming to you next week with another interview. Take care. Guys, thanks so much for listening to another episode of my show. Now, if you could go and do me a favor, head over to iTunes, give me 5 stars, and leave me a review. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support.